Okay, so today I will continue with where we left yesterday. So again, this class will be recorded and it will be uploaded to the YouTube and Google Drive. So it will be the first part of the Wednesday class. Then tomorrow we will continue from where we will leave here today. Okay. So yesterday, we started with the demand curve, and we go over the demand curve. Today we will continue with the demand function. Okay, so I will share my screen right now, and I will continue from my notes here. Okay, so let me just a second. Let me stop my video. Okay, I will share this screen. Okay. So this is the demand curve, and we saw the shifts on the demand curve yesterday. So today we will start with the demand function. Okay, and it will be basically the mathematical representation of the demand curve. Okay. So basically, so we will represent demand with Q. Okay, so it will stand for the quantity. Okay, and the demand function will be represented with the D. Okay, and it will have some inputs here. Okay, so the input for the demand function will be the price of the goods. Okay, for example, if you are talking about beef, then it will be the price of beef. Okay, so this is quantity demanded for beef, and then it will depend on the price of the other goods, so which can be PC. So this will be price of chicken. Okay, so it can depend on price of other good, so which is PF. Okay, so which is the price of fish. Okay, and it can also depend on your income level. Okay, Y is the income. Okay, so as in the standard mathematics, so basically, so this is just a function. Okay, and this P, PC, PF, and Y are the inputs. Okay, when we change the values of these inputs, the quantity demanded will change. Okay, and the relation, how we observe this change, is depending on the structure of this demand function. Okay, so this is the demand function. Okay, so this is basically, this equation is a closed form equation. Okay, so this is called as closed form equation, and we don't exactly see how the change in the price of beef affected the quantity demanded for beef. Okay, so in order to see that, okay, so we need an explicit form of this function. Okay, so what do I mean by the explicit form of this function? Basically, I need to see the coefficients in front of these variables. Okay, so the variables are here, the prices and the income, and I want to see the coefficients in front of these variables. Okay, So let's assume, okay, so this is what we are assuming right now. Okay, so it may have in a different shape, this demand function may have a different shape, but we are just assuming that the demand function is given as follows. Okay, so there is a constant here, okay, which is 171 times 20p, okay, minus 20p plus 20pc, okay, the pc was the price of chicken, plus 3pf plus 2py. Okay, so basically it is saying that, okay, so when the price of the all goods are zero, okay, and you don't have income, okay, so somehow you demand 71 kilograms of beef in a year. Okay, for example, if the price of the beef increases by 1, then your quantity demanded will decrease by 20. Okay, so all these coefficients, so here the coefficients are showing the effects of change in variables. Okay, so is there any question so far? So you can just chat, you can just write to here. No question. Perfect. Okay, so given this demand function, okay, so if you remember, so when we were interested in the demand curve, so what we have done is we just draw the relation between P and Q. Okay, so which means that we have fixed PC, PF, and Y. Okay, so basically, so again, we would like to fix those variables here in the demand function, and so we just want to write this demand as a function of, okay, price. Okay, so we would like to have in this shape. Okay, to do that, we need to have some values for PC, PF, and Y. Okay, and suppose those values are PC is equal to 4, PF is equal to 3.33, and Y is equal to 12.5. Okay, then what we do is basic, so we just plug in those values to this equation. Okay, and let's see what happens once we plug in those values into the equation. We have Q is equal to 171 minus 20p. Okay, so I don't know the exact value of p, so I'm interested in the quantity demanded for different values of p. Okay, but I have fixed those values for the other variables. Okay, then plus 20 times 4 plus 3 times 3 times 3.33 plus 2 times 12.5. Okay, and if I do the math here, I will get the following demand equation. Okay, it is 286 minus 20p. Okay, so again, this is the demand equation at this level. Okay, perfect. So let's see. Okay, let's try to understand. Okay, so we will be working on this demand equation, and we will try to understand so the effect of the change in the price here. Okay, Suppose that our price was initially, okay, some level. Okay, so let's say that it is P bar. Okay, so here P bar is just a number. Okay, so it can be 3, it can be 4, it can be something else. Okay, so we are just fixing the level. I'm just asking, what if the price increases by $1? Okay, what will happen? Okay, we will try to understand that. Okay, so this is okay. So to do that, okay, so we will basically find the Q initial. Okay, so this is the initial price, and I would like to find the final price. Okay, so which is P bar plus 1. Okay, so the initial quantity, initial demanded will be 286 minus 20 times P bar. Okay, and Q final is equal to 286 minus 20 times P bar plus 1. Okay, so now I would like to see what is the effect of increasing the $1 in the price of this beef. And basically what I'm interested in is Q final minus Q initial. Okay, and I can find that relation here very easily. So if I just, okay, so let's suppose that this is, I'm just subtracting this first equation from the second one. Okay, then Q final minus Q initial is equal to 286 minus 20 times P bar plus 1. So this was the first equation, minus 286 minus 20 times P bar. Okay, so if I do the math here, okay, Q final minus Q initial is equal to, okay, 286 will cancel each other, okay, and this minus 20 P bars will cancel each other, okay, and what is left is 20, okay, minus 20, okay, so which basically tells us that $1 increase in price causes 20 units decrease in quantity demanded. Okay, is there any question so far? Perfect. Okay, so let's continue. Okay, so basically, so I could have written this in general. Okay, so basically, so I checked the effect of the $1 increase in the price. Okay, I could have looked for a more general case. Okay, for example, let's say that the Q initial is equal to, for some price. Okay, so I don't know the exact value of the price. Okay, some P initial, and I am also looking for the some change in the price. Okay, it can be an increase in the price or it can be a decrease in the price. I will just denote it by P final. Okay, then basically the change in the price will be I will denote it by triangle P. Okay, so which is delta P, and it is actually P final minus P initial. Okay. Then change in quantity demanded, which will be delta Q. Again, it will be quantity final minus quantity initial. Okay. Then if I subtract the first equation from the second one, I have the following. Okay, Q final minus Q initial is equal to, I'm just writing the second equation first. Minus then the first equation. Okay, if I do the math here, okay, so let's do it explicitly. So this is 286 minus 20 P final minus 286. So this is minus minus, it will make plus 20 P initial. Okay, then what we have here, okay, so remember, so the left hand side of the equation is Q final minus Q initial, which is delta Q. Okay, so delta Q will be equal to 286 will cancel each other. Then I have minus 20. Okay, I'm taking it to the minus 20 parentheses. P final minus P initial. Okay, which is minus 20 times delta P. Okay, so basically, so what does this equation tell us? So let me write it here. Okay, for example, if price increases by $2, okay, then the quantity will increase by, of course it will not increase, it will decrease by $40, okay, so 40 units. So if the price decreases by $5, then the quantity demanded will increase by 100 units. Okay, so this is basically the relation between the change in the price and the change in the quantity. Okay, now let's continue. Okay, so basically, so if you remember, so let's do more math here. Okay, I will try to explain something, so which is I guess you already know. So if I take this delta P to the left hand side, okay, so which means that if I divide the left hand side and the right hand side by delta P, okay, so delta Q over delta P will be minus 20. Okay, so this is just another way to represent this effect of the change in the price. In fact, okay, so this is, if you remember your calculus knowledge, okay, so this is actually the derivative of quantity with respect to price. Okay, and so if you remember the demand equation here, Q was equal to 286 minus 20p. In order to see the effect of the change in the price on quantity, what I do in the calculus is basically I take the derivative of the quantity demanded with respect to price. Okay, and how do I take this derivative? It is basically, I'm just, so this is just the constant in front of p. Okay, and this is constant. The derivative of the constant will be 0 minus 20, which is minus 20. Okay, so if I ask you what is the effect of the change in the price on the quantity, you can basically just take the derivative, okay, and answer based on that. Okay. So let's turn back to this initial equation, okay, this one. Okay. So I will rewrite it again. So Q is equal to 171 minus 20P plus 20PC plus 3PF plus 2Y. Okay. So if I ask you to do the following, okay, what is the effect of change in the price of chicken? Okay. So what you do is basically, it is the same logic here. Okay, so you just take the derivative of you will just take the derivative of this quantity demanded with respect to PC. Okay, so which will be dq over dpc is equal to, so this will be constant, okay, the derivative with respect to PC is 0, derivative with respect to PC is 0, 0, 0. We only have this, the constant value here, okay, 20, okay. So which means that a unit change in price of chicken will increase, okay, will, so let's say will change quantity demanded by 20. Okay, so far so good. Excellent. Okay, is there any question? No questions. Okay. So let's continue with supply. Okay, so far what we have done is, so we went over the consumer side of the market, which gives us the demand. Okay, so we first go over the demand curve, then we go over the demand function. Okay, so now we will do almost the same thing, but now we will be interested on the firms or sellers. Okay, so basically, in order to determine price and market price and quantity, we need to know how much firms want to supply at any given price. Okay, and there will be different factors affecting the decision of the firm. Okay, the decision of the firm will be affected by price of the goods, it will be also affected by the cost of production, it will be also affected by the government rules and regulations. Okay, so it can be here some taxes and some barriers put by the government. Okay, so basically, so as you can think that, so that if the price of the good increases, okay, so if the price of the good increases, then the supply will increase. If the cost of production increases, then supply will decrease. Okay, we will have different effects here. Okay, then okay, so as we did in the demand, okay, so if you remember, so for the demand we fixed everything but the price of the goods, and we explain the relation between price and quantity demand. Okay, so we will do exactly the same thing here. Okay, for example, so we will fix the cost of the production, we will fix all the rules related with the government, and for the supply we will also try to explain the relation between price and quantity supplied in each level of the price. Okay, so formally, so the quantity supply is the amount of a good that firms want to sell at a given price, holding everything as constant. Okay, and we use supply curve to show this relation. Okay, so let me just remind you, so what was the demand curve here. Okay, so let's first remember the demand curve here, and we have supply curve here. So let's first start with the demand. Okay, here the x-axis is the quantity demanded, y-axis is the price. And the usual shape of this demand curve is basically a downward sloping linear line. Okay, so this is demand curve. And for the supply curve, okay, we will have something just opposite. Okay, again, this is quantity supplied, and this is price. Okay, so if you look at the definition of the quantity supplied, okay, you will see that, okay, we are looking for the quantity that the firm would like to supply at each level of the price. Okay, so which means that, okay, so if we look at the price level for example, $100, okay, so we ask the firm, okay, how many units that you would like to supply at this point. Okay, then the firm will basically say us something. Okay, so I would like to supply 100 units. Okay, I'm just saying. Then I ask the same question to the firm for a different price level. For example, I ask the same question, say that, okay, so how many units would you like to supply? Okay, when the price is $50. Okay, then the firm will have a different answer here. Okay, for example, the firm can say that I would like to supply 80 units. Okay, or let's say that, okay, so let's make it more clear. It said that I would like to supply 50 units. Okay, and I keep going on asking the same question for to the firm. Okay, for different price level. Okay, at the end, okay, what I need to do is basically I will have some dots here. Okay, and I will connect those dots. Okay, and this will be the supply. Okay, so the difference between the supply and demand, as you can guess, okay, so basically the supply, quantity supply will increase with the price. Okay, so which gives us a upward sloping curve. Okay, so for the demand it was downward sloping demand curve. Okay, so we will continue with the supply curve. Okay, suppose that this is our original supply curve. Okay, or let's say that initial supply curve. Okay, so again here price, here quantity supplied. Okay, then if we are interested in the change of the other things, okay, other than the price of the good, okay, so now we are interested in effects of change in other factors. Okay, price excluded. Okay, so we are not looking for the effect of the change in the price. Okay, so for example, so we are looking for the cost of production. Suppose that for some reason, okay, the cost of production for the good increases. Okay, cost of production increases. Okay, for example, so the government say that, okay, the minimum wage that you can pay for the workers is now $20 per hour, okay, instead of $10 per hour. Okay, so it will cause an increase in the cost of production. Okay, then basically, so what we are looking is what will be the effect of this increase in the cost of production. Okay, now we asked the same question. Okay, sorry. Suppose that initially, okay, so when price was $10 for the good, okay, the firm would like to supply 20 units. Okay, so once the cost of production increases, okay, the firm would like to supply less of that good, okay, which means that instead of 20, now the firm would like to supply 15. Okay, for example, we can do the same thing for different price levels. Okay, for example, for 20, initially the firm would like to supply, let's say, 40 units. Okay, but now the firm would like to supply 30 units. Okay, so this change in the cost of production, the increase in the cost of production, will shift the supply curve upward. Okay, so it will have a left shift. Okay, so let's draw it with this one. Okay, so this light blue line is basically showing the shift in supply curve. Okay, and we have an upward shift. Okay, and this is because of the increase in the cost of production. Okay, if we have a decrease in the cost of production, okay, then we may have downward shift here. Okay, so basically this is decrease in cost of production. Okay, perfect. Any questions? No. Great. And let me continue. Okay, so I will do the same thing. Okay, I will go over the supply function, and I will end today's meeting. Okay, and we will continue tomorrow. Okay, so basically, so we represent the supply on the graph. Okay, so which we call the supply function. Okay, and as we did for the demand function, now we would like to represent the supply by using the mathematical equation. Okay, so the supply function is the mathematical relation between the quantity supplied and price and other factors. Okay, and we represented the quantity supplied by QS. Okay, and the supply function is represented by S. And as we explained here, so it is the relation with the price, okay, price of the own good, and the other factors. For example, let's say that the price of the inputs, okay, PK, okay. So this will be, let's say, beef quantity, beef supplied. This is price of beef, and the input of the beef is the cattle itself. Okay, so this is the price of cattle. Okay, so we can add other factors here. Okay, so we can add other factors. Okay, for example, wage, blah blah. Okay, And again, this is not the explicit form of the supply function. Okay, so we, in order to see the effect of the change in the price of the beef, or in order to see the change in the price of the inputs, okay, the cost of the inputs, we can explicitly write this supply function as follows, okay, with the constants. Okay, so this is basically saying that, okay, so the quant supply for beef increased by 40 as the price of the beef increased by $1, and the quant supplied for the beef decreases with 60 units, okay, as the price of the cattle increases by $1. Okay, so we can see the relation, or the effect of the change in the price. For example, as we did for the demand, okay, here dqs over dp is the effect of change in price, okay, on quantity supplied. And here it will be basically dqs over dp is equal to 40. Okay, and similarly we can calculate the effect of the change in the price of the inputs, okay, dqs over dpk, so which will be -6. Okay. So basically, so next, okay, so before stopping, okay, so let me briefly go over what we will do next. Okay, so right now what we have done is we have studied the quantity demanded. Okay, so this is demand in a separate graph, and we have studied the quantity supplied in separate graph. Okay, tomorrow we will start with what if we put those things on the same graph. Okay, and our objective will be basically finding this is the market equilibrium. Okay, and we would like to find the market equilibrium. Okay, and the market equilibrium will be basically the price, market price, and the quantity. Okay, so I will stop at this point. Okay, so let me stop sharing. And so basically this is all for today. Okay, so if Bora, do you have any question? Okay, so I will post this lecture to the YouTube, and I will also put the recorded file to the Google Drive. Tomorrow we will start with the market equilibrium. Okay, before the class, I would like you all of you to go over this recorded session. Okay, I tried to not to go deep on this recorded session because so I don't want you to fall behind of the class. But basically, so if you have any question on the supply, okay, I will answer those questions at the beginning of the class tomorrow, and we will continue from there. Okay, so I will stop recording right now.